Do you ever feel like your body is broken? Like you want to move in a certain way, maybe like you once used to, but your body just doesn't cooperate anymore? You see, over the last 16 years working with pain, movement, and training, I have uncovered what actually works for fixing your body and what doesn't. Because there is a way to undo years of damage. So give me just a few minutes and I'll show you exactly how to get rid of all your nagging pain so that you can not just move without pain but also do it in the same way you did at your peak. And it all boils down to these four principles. Number one is mastering the art of relaxation. Number two is finding correct spinal alignment. Number three is that more range of motion is not necessarily better. And number four is pain is not just physical. These are the exact same principles I've used with my clients for years. The same ones over 400 people have applied to finally get rid of pain that they thought they'd be stuck with forever. Now, if you want to work with me directly, then click the link down below to apply. But, anyways, let's jump to the first principle. All right, principle number one, you got to stop holding on to so much tension because what happens when you hold on to all this tension is you become brittle like a cracker, right? You want to be pliable like a rubber band that's able to stretch and absorb and transmit force. But you lose that capability when you tighten up. And as athletes, as somebody with an athletic background or with a training background, you might think that more effort, more tension, more pushing is going to make you run faster or jump higher or lift more weight when in fact it's the very opposite. I mean, I know times where in high jump or in basketball, I was trying so hard and holding so much tension and just putting more effort into it. But in fact, it was decreasing my performance. And once I let go of that and I was able to relax and flow and allow my body to be pliable like a rubber band, as I mentioned before, that's when I actually ended up clearing the bar or when I ended up making more shots or dunking better or whatever it was. So I'm going to show you some specific exercises that you can use to actually get rid of that tension in your body. And it's going to start with isometric holds. All that means is that you're holding positions without any movement. So there's a few different variations that you can do here. They're all starting in this standing posture. I'm going to show you three of them. So the first one is a farmer's hold, where you're holding two dumbbells to your side. You're just going to think about good postural cues, nice elongated tall spine, which I'll talk about in the next principle. And you're also going to make sure that your feet are contacting the ground through 3 points. Your hips are nice and stacked. The pelvis and rib cage are connected. And then from here, I just want you to close your eyes and just breathe and just scan your entire body and find the places that are holding excess tension. And you're just going to let go of that. Just allow it to melt away. Now, what you don't want to happen is you end up collapsing and curling like a ball and completely losing your structure. There's this saying in Tai Chi, which is bones up, flesh down. So essentially, between each and every one of your bones at your joints, you want to create a little bit of separation, a little bit of pull, and that's going to create the structure in your body. Now from there, you want all of your flesh to hang down. Like, you ever seen those people who lost like 100 pounds and their skin is just drooping down like that? That's exactly what you want to feel through all of your tissues throughout the entire body. You just want to have the bones pulling you up against gravity and then the flesh dropping down with gravity. And that's exactly what you're going to do as you do these holds. So that was the first one to the side. Then there's another one, a lot more challenging. This one is going to be really good for recruiting the mid-back muscles. If you're at your desk typing all day, you're going to hold this front curled position. And the reason why it's good for that collapsed posture is because what is this doing? It's wanting to pull me down even more. So I have to resist that by using my posterior chain, by using my mid-back muscles, and I'm going to hold this position. And you hold these for time, so you can hold them
for an amount of breaths, full inhales and exhales, or you can hold them for 60 seconds, 120 seconds. You can use lighter weight, a little bit heavier weight with less time. You could play around with the variables depending on what my clients are seeking in terms of their fitness goals. I'll change things up a little bit and add a little bit of variety, but the basics are just that you want to be able to hold those positions and melt that tension away. So that's the second one, is that front curled position. And then the last one is just a simple overhead hold. So you're just holding overhead. Again, same thing. And what you'll find is that a lot of you are gonna be in this position where you can't really get all the way overhead, or in order to get overhead, you have to kind of jut your neck forward and your pelvis back like this. You wanna be a nice, perfectly straight line like this. And that takes you being able to relax. And of course, as you relax, different muscles are gonna have to take on the load. Like for instance, like if my pelvis is jut out like this, then my hip flexors are super tight and my glutes aren't really working and my low back is working too much. If I let this relax, I let my my hip flexors relax, I let my low back relax, now my pelvis comes into a better position, then my glutes are going to naturally work more. My core is going to naturally work more. The muscles of my pelvic floor naturally going to work more. So you need to learn how to relax in these positions. And that is what's going to make you a better athlete. The dudes like LeBron and Tom Brady and Ronaldo, all of them are masters at this. They can do it not just while they're standing here or holding these positions that I'm showing you, but also while they move, while they're cutting, while they're jumping, running, all these things. So if you can master this, then your body is going to be much more resilient, because again, it's not going to be brittle and break anytime you got to put some load, some force into the ground. So last couple exercises I'll show you. You can also do these with a hinge hold. So again, the variations don't matter as much. It's more the principle of holding these positions with that relaxation. So you can do this kickstand hold. So I'm on the toes of this back foot. I'm on the ball of my foot, and there's a very slight space underneath this heel of the foot in front. I'm gonna be hinged down. The weight's gonna be around my knee. You don't wanna go too low. You're just gonna be kind of like hanging on your muscles. You wanna be like a little bit active with it. And you're just gonna hold this position. Again, nice long spine. You don't wanna see the spine rounding like this. You don't wanna have like this excessive anterior tilt either. You wanna be nice and neutral at the pelvis, and then just let everything relax into place and balance that good posture and openness of the body with that relaxation, as I was talking about. Last exercise you could do, and you can do this with body weight or with weight in your hands, but it's just a lunge hold. Same thing. I'm thinking of nice tall posture, melting away all my tension, starting from my feet, starting at my ankles. And this is really, really beneficial if you have any tight or any painful spots that you're dealing with right now. I want you to get into these positions and I want you to feel what is going on in that area, or what is going on in areas that are close to that painful or that problematic area. And I want you to see, are they holding too much tension? Are they just disconnected and just hanging on, guarding for no reason? If so, this is where you need to let that go. And as you continue to practice that, you're gonna groove in that more relaxed state for that muscle or that area, and it's going to start transferring as you progress the load. You start to make these movements more complex. Okay, cool. Now we can just hold this lunge without holding tension, excess tension in my knee. Now let's go up and down. Now let's jump with it. And you can do all sorts of variations. And then now, okay, cool, I can do all these explosive movements in place without that guarding in my knee. Now let me start running and let me start practicing that. So it's just a matter of progressing things, typical progressive overload. If you've trained before, you know that it's simply just adding more stimulus to your body, more challenge, so that you can make your body adapt. Well, this is the piece that people miss, is progressive overload with the right clean slate of relaxation. Now, this next principle is to have the proper spinal alignment, because every movement starts from your spine. If your spine is in the wrong positions, then your shoulders and your hips cannot operate properly. If I'm hunched over like this and I'm trying to push something or I'm trying to pull something, I'm not going to be able to get into the big muscles of my lats, my pecs, even my delts are going to be compromised because of this spinal position. But once I open up, I have this nice big chest without flaring my ribs. My chest is able to expand, and now I'm able to pull and push with so much more power. And so you want to take that into every single exercise that you do, even the athletic movements that you do. So to exercise this, to practice this spinal alignment and to find the right spinal alignment, I like to get into this dead bug hold. So you can also do this against a wall, but this is going to really challenge your core in a nice way. So you're going to get on the ground. You're going to have your arms up here. And to start, you can just have your feet flat on the ground. You're going to have both of your arms up here. From here, what I want you to do is keep your head pulled upwards from the back of the top of the head. I don't want you to go like this with your chin facing up here. I want you to keep that chin tucked, but don't overdo that. Again, relaxation. And you're going to push your upper back into the ground as if you're pushing your sternum. Somebody's punching you in your sternum, and you're moving back towards that ground. That's what you want to do. Then from there, you're going to do two actions at the same time. One, you're going to slightly tilt your pelvis forwards, ever so slightly. And at the same time, you're going to pull this belly button area in. And I don't want you to just pull it in. I'll show you what I mean here. I don't want you to just pull it in like this and you look like a starving child. I want you to tighten it in. And the difference is that with this one, I have no activation here. This is hollow. I need pressure. I need to create pressure in order to have stability through my body and provide that stability for my spine to hold the right alignment. What I want you to do instead is to tighten this in. And this way I have this strong, compact canister that will allow me to have the stability I need in any of the movements that I do. So that's what you're going to hold in this position. So again, what you'll see, a lot of coaches are telling people, a lot of physios, PTs, they're telling people to force their low back into the ground. Google a picture of a spine right now, or I'll have my editor put a picture of a spine, a neutral, regular spine on the screen. You will see that the curve of the lumbar spine, the lower part of the spine, actually goes inwards. It comes towards the belly button, not away from the belly button. So why would we practice that in our core work? It doesn't make any sense. And that's why people have all these disc issues and back issues and sciatica. It's because their lower back is not in the right position. So again, what you're gonna do, push that lower back into the ground, have that head nice and elongated, and then you're gonna do those cues, that slight tilting of the pelvis and that pulling, that tightening in of the belly button area, lower belly button area. And then you're gonna find, hopefully you could see this on camera, but there's gonna be a very small space underneath the lower back. That's what you wanna maintain. Then, as you do the exercise, you're going to keep that. And what you'll also find is that when you do this right, you get this interesting feeling of suction on the inside of your hips. It's like your glutes are engaging, but not the outside superficial portion of the glutes. It's like the portion that is deeper, that the deep stabilizing muscles that are at the head of your femur, your thigh bone, right where it connects into the pelvis. It's like those muscles are slightly engaging to hold that leg and pelvis together, but in a fluid, dynamic way. So that's a very simple exercise you could do right there. Is just leg up and down. You can go one leg at a time. Then more advanced, but pretty difficult if you follow what I'm saying, is to have both feet up, then go one leg at a time. And then next progression is you go all the way out, one leg at a time. Then you're gonna go both legs, and you can keep on going. Then you can also add weight to your arms. You got this weight here, and then you can go up. Again, same spinal positioning, and then you're going back like this. And then you can even combine the two. And then now you're just doing a weighted dead bug, essentially opposite arm, opposite leg. So there's so many variations you can play around with, but at the end of the day, it's just grooving in that proper spinal positioning, and you're gonna take that into every single exercise that you do. On to principle number 3, guys. More range is not better. It is not a range of motion contest. You don't get points for having more range of motion. If your goal is to be pain-free and be an athletic beast, perform however the hell you want to, perform like you did when you were 21, your goal needs to be to control range of motion. Once you lose control, then stop. You don't need to push past the point of where you have control. And now, what do I mean by control? Because simply going slow doesn't mean that you're actually under control. What control means is having the right balance of pull from all of your muscles surrounding a joint. And so let's take the shoulder joint, for instance. I have the pecs pulling my shoulder this way. I have the lats pulling it down in this direction towards my waist. I have my traps pulling it up towards my neck. I have the delts that exert a certain pull on it. I have these other intrinsic little muscles that are also exerting a certain pull on it, and then the same with my back muscles as well. When those muscles are not fully in balance, because let's say I'm working at my desk all day, I'm hunching my shoulders forward, or any other reason, maybe I was a pitcher back in the day and I got a few imbalances that kind of threw my shoulder out of position, and now maybe my pec isn't engaged properly, or maybe it's engaged too much, or my lats aren't pulling me down into position as well. Whatever it is, you have one muscle, or the series of muscles rather, that are not balanced. And so when my muscles aren't balanced, my pec isn't working as well, my lat is working too hard, then I go ahead and throw weight on that. That's going to exacerbate that. That's only going to amplify the imbalance. And then when I add more range of motion, the more range of motion I get into, the harder it is on my muscles to maintain the proper balance. So if I force myself into ranges of motion, I'm simply exacerbating the imbalances that are already there. And so what you need to do instead is to learn to fire those muscles correctly with proper form, and then also these other principles that I'm telling you about. So number 1, relaxation. Number 2, the proper spinal alignment. Because what you'll find is that with just those two principles, not even understanding the proper biomechanics or anatomy or anything like that, any complicated stuff like that, if you just have a nice tall spine in the way I talked about, you relax the unnecessary tension in your body, you're naturally going to find the right positions over time, and your muscles are naturally going to fire in a balanced way. And you'll probably find, if you pay close attention, bring awareness into that shoulder joint. Let's say if you're doing a shoulder press, you're going to find the position where you lose connection, where that balance is thrown off. That is where you want to stop. And I'm not saying stop there forever. I'm saying stop there in the moment. Like, if I can't go past here without losing engagement of my lat or my pec or whatever, then I'm going to stop. I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to maybe adjust my spine a little bit. I'm going to breathe into position. I'm going to relax. And then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, now I got it back online. And then I'm going to go down a little bit more. And I'm going to do the same thing in all my movements, whether it's a squat, it's a hinge, it's a pull, it's a press. It doesn't matter. You're just going to take this concept into every single movement. And what you'll find oftentimes is that you don't even need to get into these crazy extreme ranges. A lot of times, 90 degrees is going to be where you feel most powerful and most balanced without the muscles losing engagement. But that's a video for a whole nother day. Just for now, stick to the ranges where you can control them. And especially if you have pain, this is even more important. If you have something bothering you, then work within the range that you don't have any pain. Like, if I am pushing, I'm pressing, and it's right here where I start to get shoulder pain, then stop right there. Again, groove in good patterns, relax your body, and just work within this small range. This is doing something, trust me. It doesn't matter how much range you use, it matters the control. And over time, you prioritize control, and you're going to get more range of motion because your body is going to feel safe to give it to you. How do you feel safe? You relax, you get your spine in the right position, and you'll naturally find that the muscles balance. And when the muscles are balanced, your body, your nervous system will feel safe to give you more range. That's all restriction is. So instead of trying to push past and get as much range as possible, just be controlled, and the range will naturally come that way as a byproduct. All right, now principle number 4 is that pain goes way beyond just the physical. And if you don't understand this part and you don't implement the exercise that I'm about to show you at the end in about a few minutes, then you're never going to get rid of your pain, because it's, again, not just the physical, not just the tissue damage or the inflammation that is present in our body. And it's actually explained by a 3-part framework that is widely, heavily researched in the chronic pain space, and it's called the biopsychosocial model of pain. And so the bio part, biology, is, again, the tissue damage, the inflammation, the actual injury that we sustain, disease as well. And this is what most performance and rehab actually targets, is that biology. And the next aspect is the psychological part of things. So let's say you have a little bit of fear avoidance of a particular movement because maybe you got injured doing a certain movement, or you experience pain, or you have experienced pain in the past when doing a particular movement. And now every time you think about getting into it, you have this little bit of fear, a little bit of cringe or avoidance when it comes to doing that movement. Well, what that tells your nervous system is, basically, it confirms that that movement is something that should be avoided. It confirms that you should not do it, that it should be scared to get into that position because something bad can happen. And so what does it do? It increases the pain signals to that area wherever you're experiencing the pain when it comes to that particular movement. And I see this all the time with guys, let's say, who have knee pain and they completely avoid lower body movements, or guys who maybe let's say stop playing basketball because their back flares up every time. Well, over time, it's not because you're getting older or because the injury or the issue is progressing worse on a physical level. It might very well be the psychological level that is increasing those pain signals more and more and just making them stronger over time. And then there's also the anxiety and the depression side of things and just overall rumination on your thoughts surrounding pain. And before you say, I'm mentally tough, I don't deal with any of that shit, this stuff is a spectrum. It's not all or nothing. I have anxiety or I don't. You might have thoughts racing in your head, and yeah, maybe you're not gonna have a panic attack like some people, but you're still a little bit tipped towards that edge of anxiety. And those things very much influence pain because what they do is that they get your nervous system into this stress response that tightens things up, makes things more rigid in your body, and it also increases pain signals. And so these are things that you have to pay attention to as you're going about your rehab process. You can't just do clamshells and planks and band pull aparts and just not think, not, just go through the motions and expect your pain to go away and expect you to get back to that resilient athletic version of yourself that can go and do any activities, that can go and hike, that can go and golf, play basketball, go for runs, go for all these activities with the family, whatever it is that you want to be able to do. You can't expect to get back there if you're only focusing on the very physical side of things. And even that focus on the physical is superficial in and of itself. So you got to look at all of these things when it comes to remediating your pain and fixing your body. And so the last part of this is the social side of things. So your cultural upbringing and how maybe you were raised to respond to pain in bad situations, and your line of work and your support system or lack thereof. All these things heavily influence our pain and we don't even realize it. So you have to consider all of these things in the equation. So now I'm going to give you a practice that is going to allow you to intercept your pain on all these different levels, especially the psychological level. And it's going to allow you to remediate it as a result because you're actually going to be getting to the true root of it now. So there's two variations of this exercise. The first one, you are going to sit down or lie down or even stand up before you do the activity that typically causes pain or causes you trouble. I want you to visualize the exact moment, the exact situation, the angle that you're in, maybe the moment, like how far along you are in the activity, whatever is happening. I want you to visualize it with great detail, come up with all the specifics, and I just want you to sit here, bring yourself into that moment, and I want you to notice the thoughts that are crossing your head. I want you to notice the sensations that are in your body. Do you notice any particular areas as you do this visualization? Get tight, get tense. Maybe it's the specific problem area, but maybe it's things that are completely further along in the chain away from that specific area. Maybe your traps are tense even though it's your knee that's hurting, or maybe your low back is kind of tense and uncomfortable as you go through this visualization, but it's really your hip that is the issue. I want you to go through this and try and relax your body as much as possible. Continue visualizing and bringing yourself in the moment, and just try and bring yourself down to a place of calm and ease, and try and feel yourself doing those same movements that cause pain totally fluidly and effortlessly, as if nothing is wrong with you, because nothing is wrong with you. A lot of times, again, it's your response to the issue and not the fact that an issue is actually present. That's actually a life hack, but that's again a whole nother video. But anyways, I want you to do that exercise. And then also the second variation is when you're actually in that moment where you have pain. I want you to do pretty much the same thing, except now you don't have to visualize it. You just need to really come into your body, Forget about everything else that's happening. Forget about, the people watching. Forget about all these, other variables, or whatever it is. Just bring yourself into your body and just feel yourself relax and let go. I'm not saying don't think, just watch your thoughts. Just literally like be like you're outside of your body. Like, you know how when you have a problem and you tell a friend and you're making it this whole big thing and you're getting wrapped up in it and you have all these emotions, but your friend is just sitting there like, interesting. And it's not to say that the friend doesn't care, it's just that they are removed, they're detached. And so you want to do the same thing. You want to look at all those emotions, all those sensations in your body the same exact way, just like your detached friend. You want to observe yourself from the outside looking in. Feel the tension through your body, feel the thoughts or see the thoughts, watch the thoughts. And it's, again, another example is kind of like you're on a park bench and you're looking at the people walking by. You're not necessarily thinking really hard about one particular person. I mean, maybe if, somebody attractive walks by, maybe you are, but if it's just regular people walking by, you are not fixating on that person. You are just watching them, you see them in your line of sight, and then they go away. You see another person in your line of sight, and then they go away, and you keep on doing that. And so it's the same thing with the thoughts in your head and the sensations in your body. The reason why thoughts and sensations persist is because we are holding on to it. It's like when we see that attractive person on the park while we're sitting on the park bench and we're like, oh my God, they're so hot. And wow, like, I wonder what it would be like to talk to them. And maybe I should talk to them. And you're going in this loop. It's the same thing with your pain, with these issues in your body. If you can just learn to be aware of that, intercept it by bringing awareness into it and just simply noticing it and letting it go, then you can get rid of your pain. I'm telling you, this is not rocket science. But if you don't do this, then you're not going to get rid of your pain. And the thing is that people always ask me, what is a quick little tip for this knee pain or quick little tip for this back pain? I can give you a quick little tip, but do you actually want to solve it? Tell me, answer yourself that question. Ask yourself, are you willing to do what it takes to solve it? And the thing is that this is so simple. It's just we have some perception that it should be quicker and easier and it should be in line with what we already know. Well, if it should be in line with what you already know, if just doing exercises, just doing stretches, just icing, just doing your recovery tools, maybe you have tens of thousands of dollars of recovery equipment in your basement or in some part of your house. If all of that stuff was the key, then why hasn't it worked? Why aren't you back to being the athlete that you used to be? Why don't you have a completely pain-free, resilient body? It's because you need to change your thinking. You need to do this in a different way. And I'm telling you, after years of doing this, almost 2 decades of doing this, figuring out my own body with my own pain and injuries, getting to a pain-free, injury-free place, I can tell you that this is at the root of it. And so how you actually solve these flare-ups and these nagging issues for good is that you apply these first 3 principles, you bring them into your training, you learn to master them, and because of them, you become a better mover. Now your body is dispersing loads through itself properly. Now you're not going to have those issues that you do where a certain muscle or joint takes on all this load. It's going to be evenly dispersed through your body, and you're going to be moving and functioning how it was literally designed to be. And then you're going to take in principle number 4, and you're going to sprinkle that into the mix, looking at the psychological side of things, looking at the social side of things. And you're going to put this all into a proper program for yourself to be able to follow, because you need something tangible. You need something to actually follow to give you structure in a process like this. And you also need to make sure that you're not undertraining and babying yourself, because why would we do that? Why would we lose even more strength, even more athleticism than maybe what we have in the last months or years? And you also don't want to overtrain, push yourself too hard, and cause these issues to exacerbate even more. You need to properly progress all these four principles in a training program that takes all of them into consideration and properly progresses them to get you closer and closer to that level of function that you can truly be proud of. So you can, of course, do that on your own. But if you do want my help, then just book a call down below, apply at the link that you'll see, and we'll chat and we'll see how and if I can help. Until then, I'll see you on the other side.